Hi, hello, and welcome to the Fake Mustache Retro Rewind Show. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight and look at some old videos and tell some old stories from years gone past and gay things we did way back when. So, my name is James Dean. I'm going to be facilitating a series of entertaining conversations with performers over this show as we connect. And so let's bring on our first performer and take a look. So some of you may be familiar with this Silver Daddy. I imagine a bunch of you are. This is Shane. Hey, Shane, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. How are you doing?
Good, and yourself?
Good, good. I'm very much looking forward to this. So why don't you introduce yourself to I know you have avid fans, but why don't you introduce yourself to our audience and where are you from and when did you start drag?
Absolutely. I am Shane Onyou, local performer here out of Calgary and area. Started with Fake Mustache, Electric Stage, and Twisted Element. Those are my main places that I perform, and I perform everywhere I can get a job.
Awesome. That looks great. You look great. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. So I'm gonna pull this video up here so that we're being fair to the audience. I have let the performers select their own videos. So Shane, do you want to tell me a little bit about this performance before we get started and where you were in your drag career when you were on stage here?
All right. So this performance here is Nerdgasm, November 2017. It is actually my first performance. My very first performance. So it was very painful for me to watch, but interesting in all the same right. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
Well, we'll chat while we get into this. I'm gonna start it, and then we'll kind of go from there. So let's like that. There we go. I feel like you get points for the trench coat. I'll be totally honest. And you still wear sparkly bow ties. There are things that stay.
Yeah, the hat too. And I still have the jacket. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe I'll have to bling it up too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You definitely could. What were your instincts when you started with drag? Like, I know that I picked specific types of clothing because I thought they would work well or I had an idea about it, but...
I went with what I knew, like being an 80s child. Like, I stuck to things like Culture Club and George Michael in the beginning, and I pulled some top 40s, but I went with top 40s that kind of sounded like the 80s. So, that was kind of where I stuck. It was a safety zone for me.
Yeah, that makes sense because that music made you feel good, and because a lot of people ask questions about like how do you pick music and what connects you to the music that you use and when you do drag. So,
and every song I choose says something to me and has a story to me. So yeah, I do go for that.
That's awesome. That's great. Yeah. Any recommendations for new performers since this is your first performance? The one thing that you have always done really well is you've always taken up lots of space. Like you're moving a ton and you clearly know the words. That is the number one thing. But any recommendations for new performers or people that want to do it for the first time?
Well, few people in the Fake Mustache troupe told me this from the beginning and I stuck with it. Like people like the Marvelous Moby Dick and you, James, always told me no matter what you do on the stage, enjoy it and own it. And that's how you get comfortable. And that's what I always do. I get up there, I enjoy it, regardless of whether I screw up or not. I always have a good time and have a blast. And it depends on the people you surround yourself with, too. Like, Fake Mustache is phenomenal. They are a great group of people, and I couldn't have picked a better group to start out with.
Oh, we're happy to have you. That's super sweet. This is great. This is really awesome. Do you have a favorite costume piece now? Like, did you have a journey with something like facial hair? Because your facial hair's changed a lot over the years.
It absolutely has. It absolutely has. I credit Miss Angelina Starchild for that too. Like once we found a style, Angelina's like, that has got to be you. So I kind of stuck with the facial hair. I learned how to do it really good. I found what I liked, and I'm still playing with it. But yeah, I've come a long way, and it's part of my trademark now.
It's great. It's great. And where do you normally get your beards? Like, what do you get a standard set and then do you modify them? I know people, I'm sure, are curious.
Yes, I get a standard few types. I get a few sizes, but I do modify them. I can get the big full ones. And then as they get older, I can chop them down. Yeah. And I'll get new, shorter ones that are short ones too, just for different styles, for different looks. But yeah, I can break them down. I can change them up. I can glitter them like you do with yours, There's so much to do with them, and I get them locally at the costume shop. Put a plug so I can get back to work. Yeah, so I get a lot of most of my facial hair there.
That's great. That works really, really well. And they're going to be opening again soon, or they will be open by the time?
They've been open the whole time. You can buy from them online, but yeah, they're slowly bringing people back.
Awesome. That's great. That's wonderful. We have reached the clapping segment. I feel like a good performer, we can get the audience to keep rhythm with you. That's always a good sign.
Yeah.
So, the other fun thing about reviewing these videos is you always get people's hands or their hats or something bizarre in the footage, depending on where the camera is. So, and we'll get to see, I'm almost certain LJ would have taken this footage, so we'll get to talk about LJ a little bit later on in the stream here. There we are.
It was LJ, for sure. I can't believe I actually made it through without fainting or passing out and collapsing on the stage.
You did great. You did fantastic. You did awesome. So where can people catch you next?
So they can catch me, this show, and then they can catch me commercial drag on Sunday. So I'm doing commercial drag Sunday night. So that'll be a blast. That's going to be live on YouTube. James, you probably know all the information better than I do because you just did one and you were phenomenal. So
yeah, commercial drag is great at Sleepy Queer Productions. You can check it out on YouTube. It's on Sundays. They're a very similar community to Fake Mustache, really inclusive drag, good people. Yeah, absolutely.
And then we have our Fake Mustache one at the end of the month, the Hot Eat.
Yep, absolutely.
I have that one coming up as well too.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much, Shane. If people want to get a hold of you, we have your Instagram handle up here, as well as your tipping information. You will, if you are at a drag show happening online the next little while, you will likely see Shane. Thank you very much, my friend, for popping in and doing some video share with us. We appreciate it.
Love you much. Peace out.
Okay. Thank you. All right, now we are going to go on to a performer that I've had the privilege to work with for a number of years over time. Nix, welcome to the stream. How are you doing?
I'm pretty excellent. How about yourself?
I feel pretty good. Now, I'm going to pull this. Why don't you talk a little bit about when did you start drag and what got you into it?
I started in 2015 doing drag, and I was brought in by a really good friend who still performs with Fake Mustache as well, Butch Squeeze. And I was brought in by them because at the time they had dragged me into volunteering with Mosaic, which was the youth group that Fake Mustache predominantly funded at the time. So they dragged me in to volunteer with the kids, and then were like, hey, you know, this is all funded by a drag show. You should come check that out too.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Well, voluntolding is the best way to make friends.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pull this video up and let's talk about it a little bit before you get started. So we have, this is from 2015, the musical show from 2015, and you have gone through a performer name change, which is an interesting thing that happens in drag all the time. So do you want to talk a little bit about what was happening for this performance and that shift?
Yeah. So in this number, this was actually, same with Shane, this was actually my first ever performance. So Musical May was my first ever show. This is now my 5th year anniversary doing drag. And when I originally picked the name, I had really liked Knightley as a last name. And the idea was to make it a pun because everyone wants to make it a good pun. So I really liked Dixon Knightley because it really rolled off. It really made for a really good pun.
Yeah.
But what I didn't realize is, especially when doing group numbers and hanging out with other performers, is a lot of people will call you by your stage name almost exclusively. And I just couldn't get used to answering to Dixon.
Fair.
So I changed it to something that I was a little bit more likely to actually remember that people were talking to me, as well as something a little bit more androgynous, because now I use it for both drag and burlesque performances.
Yes, and we will, I'll get this video started, but let's talk about that because and I know we're going to have some other people touch on that in the context of this show, and those communities have really always been connected. So let's get this thing going. You ready?
Yep.
There we go. So this is from the Buffy musical.
It was, yeah. So with Musical May, I wanted to pick something that I was going to be comfortable doing. And I've been doing cosplay for about 3 times as long as I've done drag, so it's always made it really easy for me to do characters.
That makes sense.
So I've always really leaned toward character costumes, especially in my drag, because I find that it makes it more interesting.
Definitely. And talk about that. Did you find cosplay or drag first, or did they come at the same time?
Cosplay first. I've been doing cosplay since 2007.
Oh, okay, that's great.
Yeah, so cosplay quite a bit longer, but drag also helped me move in. It helped me expand my characters a lot.
Yeah.
Because what I predominantly expect is female characters, but drag kind of helped me expand into more masculine looks and more interesting characterization.
They like go in opposite directions, sort of.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's really awesome. Have you ever had a moment where like something solidified in your character that led you in a new creative direction? Because from the beginning, there's so many different avenues you can take.
I think it was when I did Let It Go. I did Let It Go, I did the masculine version, and the look for that character kind of involved a lot more bright colors and glitter in the makeup. So that was more the first time that I got to use more eyeshadow in my look instead of just the masculine contouring. And I was like, and it was kind of this moment of, I really like being able to mix this.
That's great. And talk about that a little bit, because drag has evolved even from 2015, from what we're watching now, right? The opportunities for even just expanded creativity in terms of makeup, regardless of identity or like specific character, has expanded so much.
Yeah, well, and when I first started doing drag, the expectation, my personal thought was like, I'm a drag king. I have to present as masculine as possible, so it was all about like a lot of the facial hair. And I did used to wear like the little fake hair beard that I'd stipple and do all the fake hair and things like that. And then the more I kind of got into it and the more I built a personal character, I realized that my character was not that binary. Because I had again started doing burlesque as well, and to do that I was doing very hyper femme. So kind of finding that in between for my actual character.
That's great. And you know what? I think that's really important, right? I mean, if we're going to play with gender, I never fully understood in the early days why there was this stark separation between the two things. I think drag has become more expressive and more interesting, but the explicit permission for that has been recent. It's very cool.
Yeah. And I mean, especially like I hadn't even heard of a drag monarch until like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
When all first started.
Yeah, and I think that's a really interesting expansion in terms of what that can possibly mean. I love Monarch as an option, so yeah, that's fantastic.
I think it's been really cool.
Your recommendation for people that want to get started for the first time, or actually, let's do this a little differently. What would your recommendation be for someone who is stuck in their character and wants to try something different?
Yeah, I think my first thing, again, what really helped me was the impersonation shows and the musical shows, because they really gave you a chance to step outside of what you did normally as a character. Because you're not being your normal character, you're being an entirely different and or new person.
Right.
So I think that really helps people kind of explore a new venue.
That makes sense. I like that. I like that very, very much. So find friends that also do drag and steal their shit.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, if you have queer friends, chances are they have shit you can steal.
Yeah, that's fantastic and very true. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Where can we catch you next time that you are performing?
I think my next performance will probably be whenever Fake Mustache ends up doing the Heroes and Villains show.
Okay, cool. June. So we'll make that happen.
Hopefully. Hopefully that's the next thing I have like planned on my docket anyway.
Okay, awesome. And we put your Instagram up here, so if you want to follow Nyx, go for it. And takeaway, you can always change your drag name. But yes, you will get called by your drag name. That is worth thinking about. So that's fair. That's awesome. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Have a great night otherwise.
Bye.
Bye. Alrighty. So we're going to go way back because we have been working together as performers for a long time, me and this next performer. And let's bring Dr. Jones into the stream here too. Hey, Dr. Jones, how's it going? How are you?
It's going all right.
It's a very nice pineapple shirt.
Bananas.
Oh, see, this is my drinking pineapple.
Yes, excellent.
Which is terribly exciting, but it is what it is. Wonderful.
Hydration is important.
Hydration is vitally important. So tell me about what ancient city BC you started doing drag in with me forever ago.
I started doing drag, I think it was 2006, 2007, after seeing you guys perform at Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, yeah.
And being like, I could do that. and then stalking you to this really tiny bar called the Soda, and then deciding I should join, and never left.
That's fair. And this video is from the Soda, which is fantastic. I was hoping we would get at least one Soda video in this, so I'm thrilled. And so yeah, you started we were trying to figure this out earlier, 2006, 2007 with Fake Mustache. That sounds right?
I think so.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, awesome. So what is about to, and I realized when I was looking at this video that I'm incidentally in it, so thank you for that. Yes. So what is happening? So we may want to explain this a little bit. So this is classified as the late show, because at the time we had an early show and a late show. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, because back in the day, we used to have an early show that was open for all ages, and then a late show that was 18 plus, so that a lot of, for the early show, you had to make sure there was nothing too raunchy, just because you didn't know what kids are actually going to show up. So, and then in a late show, you could do whatever. Yeah. This was actually the first amateur competition too.
That's true. It is. Yes. This was the first amateur competition. All right. Well, let's put this up, and let's. And this is the Big Pants Dance, correct?
Yes, this is my infamous Big Pants Dance.
So let's pop this up. This is good. And the Soda there was no stage, so we were on the floor.
Yeah.
And there used to be a DJ booth on the floor, but it didn't get built until a couple of years after this. So we will actually see a second Soda video with a different layout in the show as well.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the person who is filming is sitting on the stairs.
Yes, definitely sitting on the stairs.
Oh, look at you. You're so young.
I'm so young. I'm very young. I'm very young. In this video, it's just hilarious. This is probably, what, 2008? This is 2 or 3 years before I'm well into my transition. This is early on. So I'm just out of high school in this video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is back when I was super into swing dancing. So that's kind of...
Yeah, do you want to talk about that? You did professional swing dancing for a number of years when we met.
Well, it wasn't professional. I would just go, there were like, you could go take lessons and then there'd be a social dance afterwards. And so I did that for like 5 years. And it started before drag. So my first number, which is not this number, was also a swing number. So I ended up being like, why not use what I knew for drag?
This is great, and you're a fiber artist on top of that. Like you have a kind of a multi-layered artistic career. Has drag had an influence on your other parts of your creativity over time?
Oh yeah, it all intersects. It's all interwoven. Like I've done when I was in art college, I did pieces about drag and gender and stuff, and yeah, it's kind of hard to keep things separate. After a while, it all just sort of interacts together.
That's fair. What do you think is the biggest change you've seen in the drag community over the last, and I can say this earnestly, decade?
Yeah. There's definitely been a rise in, like, you guys were talking about this before, about the drag monarchs and the more like gender queerness, and that's definitely been a big thing, which has been awesome. I think it allows people to have so much more artistic freedom to, explore gender and explore who they are in different ways of performing. And also the makeup has changed so much.
Yes.
Like, I'm probably not wearing makeup in that number.
Yeah, it was very different back then, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you would just like eyeliner on a beard and you were good to go. And now it's like contouring, and I put eyeshadow on and, glitter, and so much more effort, but it looks so much better. So
it does. Well, and the interesting thing too is that, like, at this point, YouTube and Facebook would have been in their infancy, and so there just weren't images of shows going up online. No drag performers didn't have Instagrams with their makeup tutorials. It was just very different, and so you performed in what you showed up in, and that's how it went. It was fun that way. And I will say there's something that changed about that. More people have access to drag, and that's amazing. Yeah. Man, we had some fun, though. It was sort of like the little hole in the universe. It was just ours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so much easier to find nowadays. It took me like a year to find you guys when I started. because you couldn't just look it up on Facebook because Facebook was barely a thing, and it was just like, I don't even know if Google was much of a thing.
Not for drag shows. Good luck Googling drag shows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We put ads in fast forward. It was the best way to find us.
Yeah.
Print
Or Gay
ad.
Calgary back when they were a thing.
Yeah, definitely Gay Calgary back then too. Oh, these giant pants. We did this number a couple of times too over the years.
Oh yeah, I always go back to it every now and then.
Just
It's a lot of work. It's very tiring. I am not as in shape as I was back then.
Yeah, those days. The soda was also was lovely to us, but was like not a place where people would hang out unless we had a show there. So it was as rough as it looks. We found some weird stuff in weird places pretty often.
Yeah, and weird people coming in the door and wandering across the performance.
Yeah, we started charging for the shows so we could put a bouncer at the door to prevent problems, and that was sort of how it started. And then we started making money and thought, like, so we have to do something with this money. Yeah. There it is. Oh, there we go.
Oh no.
That's it. All right, let me pop you up here. There we go. All right. Thank you so much for that. That was actually a lot of fun. Can you let people know who the artist for that song was if they want to check it out? It's a unique piece of music.
I think it's Lee Presson and the Nails. I randomly found it at the library.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Fantastic. Okay, so do you have any recommendations for people getting started in drag, or references that you used or things you remember when you're getting ready that you think other people should know?
Just have a lot of fun with it. Find a piece of music that you really connect to. And yeah, everyone is scared. Everyone, like, I still get scared. So like, that's normal. But try to remember to have fun.
Awesome. Perfect. Thanks. I really appreciate it, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank you.
Showing videos of us as children.
Oh, yes.
Speaking of which, we're going to go on to another one, but thank you, Dr. Jones. I appreciate it. Is there anywhere that you are going to be creatively or on video or in your house in the next little while you want us to know about?
I don't know yet. So, yeah.
Fair. Well, maybe we'll pull you into another retro show. There's enough content. We can certainly make that work.
We have several thousand videos. Yes.
Several thousand videos. Yes, that's true. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. It's been great to talk to you.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. So we're going to bring in a performer whom I very specifically remember the first time that this performer performed with us at an amateur competition. Do you remember? At St.
I do remember. Oh God, I was so scared that day.
Yeah. You want to talk a little bit about, because we're gonna go into this number in a second. Do you want to talk a little bit about, you have two identities as a performer that have evolved over time. So from when you started to now, you want to talk a little bit about that, and we'll get this video connected for you.
Sure, yeah. So I started out as Howie, Felter Snatch, as in drag, and this number actually that we're about to see actually really inspired me to go more into burlesque. So yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I don't want to give it away, so I've like both of us know what's about to happen. So do we want to, let's just play this thing and see how it goes?
Sure. Yeah.
Hang on a second. Let's make that bigger, as it should be. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you and Eva met? Because you've had several creative relationships on and off stage since kind of the beginning of this time. So that's kind of new for people.
So actually, like that year that I made this number, 2013 was it?
2013.
Yeah. That was the year that I actually went to Vancouver for the first time with you guys. And then, yeah. And that's how this number came to mind, actually. It started in the thought process in Vancouver. And it was because I was just so excited. I kept saying, oh, yeah. And Eva Angel and Jasper were like, the Kool-Aid man, right? And so I just like let it go. But then it just like burst into this friendship with Eva Angel and Dr. Jones. And just like now we're just all best friends.
That's
So-
amazing. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm going to volume up a teeny tiny bit here because I think that it's a beautiful piece of music. So this is Eva Angel, who's one of our first choreographers, and who, of course, is a dance instructor and works with Momo now, which is amazing. So that's great. That's great. So what drove you into this place where you started experimenting with drag and burlesque? Because you started in a masculine drag place, and then that evolved for you over time. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I did, yeah. So it was like very masculine, but I also still had like some bits of femininity in my drag at some times. Like, and I wanted to explore some more, but I didn't quite know how. So I ended up joining burlesque firm to actually better the drag because I wanted to move more on the stage, and I didn't know how to do that because I don't have a dance background or acting or anything. So I was like, oh, burlesque firm.
Yeah.
So I joined that, and it definitely helped me, but it just escalated to burlesque.
I like that. I like that very much. Well, I think sometimes you do find identity by just trying different things, character development being similar.
Yeah, exactly. And I think also, like, my character...
Now I can't. We have to... yes.
is my characters, like, change per number, too.
Yeah.
So, I could be funny, like this.
Like this?
Or I could be, like, super serious and make someone cry.
That's true. You have some very, really beautiful pieces that I know you've spent a lot of time and emotional energy on. Oh my god! So, do you want to explain to the viewers what an Oscar show is in terms of fake mustache? Because this might already be confusing them, but I feel like maybe we should elucidate a little bit.
Yeah. So, an Oscar show is kind of like the Oscars, but drag and burlesque related, and we each have different categories that you could join. And I joined the most random category for this one, which I think is fitting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when I signed up for this one, I didn't want people to know that I was going to be bursting through Eva's number, so I just put her name. I didn't put my own at all. And yeah.
It was great. This was the year that the most random, because most random was a category I put into the show just as a catch-all for people who wanted to perform but didn't want to perform in a category, like because it was softy mostly, and it was just an easy thing. And then people took it literally. Where they were like, most random. And then this happened, and I've never been sad about the happy accident that is the most random category becoming just like anything could happen every year. It's wild. And I remember I remember this in particular because I remember you saying that you don't like Kool-Aid.
I hate Kool-Aid.
And you're covering yourself in Kool-Aid. So
I am, and there's been times where I've performed this again, and I've actually had like drank with Kool-Aid, and I'm on stage, and I'm like, don't cringe.
Yeah, that would do it.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. This is amazing. And I remember you loading this giant thing into the back room, but trying to keep it secret, which was also hysterical.
It was huge too. Like, it took up a big portion of my bedroom. I actually had to get rid of it because it was way too big to keep.
Drag props will do that. Oh, speaking of where we are right now, this is a new venue from the last video. So this is at Dickens. Do you want to talk about Dickens a little bit?
Yes, Dickens is awesome. And I love how friendly everyone is, all the staff members. And oh man, that
was great. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we are. Wonderful. Well, that was a blast. That is quietly a much beloved favorite of mine, only because I'm standing on the side of the stage going, "What?" the whole time. It was great.
Thank you. Yeah, I had that number. Like, I just love so much, and it's still an inside joke for a lot of performers that have been there during that time.
Yep, that's totally fair. Well, what would you recommend? And let's open this up a little bit. Burlesque or drag or both. What would you recommend to people when they're starting to figure out if somebody's starting to feel pulled in one direction or the other? Like, where do you think it's a good place to start exploring those kinds of things?
You know, if you are wanting to just try burlesque, just do it. Like, there's no harm in just trying. If you're stuck between burlesque and drag, well, then there's no harm in combining the two either. Like, it's all the same almost. You're still a hyper extension of your gender, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Fantastic. Awesome. Is there anywhere that we can catch you next, or are you doing any more iPalette bingo videos coming up?
Oh,
how's that all going?
Talent bingos are so random, but keep posted to my Instagram. It'll be on there.
Awesome. Great. Well, check out Lila's Instagram, and when in doubt, shake it, and you don't have to drink the Kool-Aid. It's a beautiful thing.
That's true.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, my friend. Have a safe continued quarantine, and we will be in touch soon. Thank you.
Yes. Bye.
Bye. All right, all right. This is great. We had to have a little bit of burlesque in here to make it fun. Here's a king who has been with us for a while. Oh, we do have a glitter beard happening tonight. That's fantastic. How are you, my friend? How are things?
Good. Just staying safe, staying home.
Yep.
Nothing.
Where you have cats in that room, though, right? We have seen the occasional cat pop up here a couple of times. There we go. Oh, we're gonna get cat video. See, there have been a number. I see it. I'm always excited when someone is doing a live drag show and their animals are accidentally involved. It seems like serendipitously fun for everybody. So, what's your cat's name?
This cat's name is Chloe.
Chloe. I like that. Fantastic. Okay, so this number that we are going to be looking at is from 2013, also from Dickens. And this is the amateur competition in 2013, which means I believe this is the month after or the month before the Oscar show. So this would be August. What is happening in this? Why did you pick this video?
I picked this video because this video is still the same song as my very first number, which would have been November of 2012. And I figured I chose the amateur competition because through that number, I also learned from the judges how to improve my own performances.
Yeah, that's true. And so let's put this on, and then do you want to give us a little bit of a rundown of generally how an amateur show works? Because this is a lot of people's introduction to Fake Mustache, if this is how they get connected to us. So
sure, definitely.
And we will be currently, so if this is curious for anybody who's looking at the thread, our goal is all of the months that have 5 weeks, because we're going to be doing a weekly show. The 5th week will be an amateur show, so we're going to have them spread across the year as we come to you in a digital platform. So stay tuned, that's a possibility. But what is an amateur competition like for a first timer? Please tell me. I never did one, and so now I need to know. I want to know.
Well, I guess my interpretation of it was kind of like a drag American Idol, minus the singing.
Yeah.
And there was 3 judges, I do believe, 3 or 4, depending on the year. Yep. And it was always a drag king, a burlesque dancer, and someone unrelated to the troupe, but still a performer in the community.
Yes.
And that varies. I know that we've also had judges, the winner the previous year, and so on and so forth. And they watch all the amateurs that enter the competition. And at the end of every number, they used to, I haven't been to one for a while, so I'm not sure if it's changed, but they used to give you little tips and hints on things that they could do for costuming. How are your words and your lyrics and your presence on stage and your energy level, the props you used, and just to better yourself as a performer. And then at the end, there was a winner. And sometimes the winner also gets to perform for Calgary Pride.
Yeah, that is generally, that's sort of how we've worked it out. And over the years, as we've had more space to do that, we've offered different prizes. Okay, cool. Are you ready for this? You're good? Feel good about it?
Yeah, a little nervous, but here we go.
That's okay. Let's do it. you've got the solid bass. You get the solid bar bass coming through here.
Definitely get party rock song for sure.
Yeah. This is great. So what is the thing that leads you to pick music for drag? Is it a feeling? Is it a type of music? Where does that line up for you?
Definitely feeling or message, or like feeling or energy. There's usually a message behind it, whether it's yourself or to someone else, or owning my emotions in some way, or just to bring the audience up a little bit, to advocate for something. Those are usually the main reasons as to why I choose a number.
That makes sense. That's great. Well, and it makes sense to kind of to take people on a ride, right? Depending on where you want them to go with this. And this one involves a bunch of shots, which is there was a drag era where there was a lot of shots on stage all the time, and I definitely remember that, which is fun.
Yep.
And you've got rainbow hair in this video. Is when did you start dyeing your hair?
After probably right after I saw you guys at Pride, which would have been the previous year.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. This is great. This is awesome. So you've been with us now we're going on 7 years, right? Is that correct? That sounds about right, from 2013.
Sounds about right. 12,
Yeah, that's really good.
8 years, I think, coming up November.
Yeah, 8 years. That's significant. What do you think has been the biggest growth in your character over that time? If you could pick it, what do you think it would be?
Focus, I feel. This number in particular, it's all over the place. If you don't know the lyrics, half the time you have no idea what I'm doing.
Right.
So I definitely focused more on like, what is my number saying to the audience? Like, what is the reason for the number? And then from there, I just tried to expand on it and connecting it to the song. And I'm also, I hear a lot, people say that my numbers are music video style. If that makes sense.
Who is this? Do you remember this handsome stranger?
Oh my God. I think so.
Yeah.
I can barely see
I think so. I think so. Oh, and now it's a fake mustache show, huh? Everybody's getting on stage and making massive things.
Oh yeah, because I pulled everybody up on stage.
Yeah, look at all the usual suspects.
Oh, look at us all. Oh my God. Oh man.
See, this is the fun part. There's something spontaneous about just like there's Dev sneaking in on the side there early on. Very nice.
Woo!
Oh man.
Improv flash dancing.
Yep, pretty much. That sounds about right. Yeah, there is something about having both sides of the stage accessible that's convenient, and then this kind of stuff can happen, but also, this is great.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure I was pretty proud of myself when I found shorts that matched color-wise for exactly to that LMFAO shirt.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, that's awesome. Fantastic. That was a lot of fun. Thank you so much. Oh, that was a blast. So what would, so I mean, some of the things that are emerging here are sort of like drag is very much a family. It's sort of about doing this kind of stuff together. So if people are looking for a way to start getting involved or start getting involved in performance, what would your recommendation for them be?
My recommendation, if you want to start, catch as many shows as you can and different types of shows so you can see variety. And then talk to the performers. Talk to those performers and hear their story. Where did they start? Where can you start? Maybe they have tips or tricks, makeup, outfit, choreography wise. If you're having trouble getting started yourself, they'd be more than welcome to help you out.
Awesome. That's fantastic.
I have something really special though. When you mentioned fast forward, it reminded me of.
Look at that piece of ancient propaganda. My God, that's in Dickens too. That's shot down in Dickens.
I don't know if you can see it with the glare.
Yeah. Oh, it's signed.
There we go.
Nice.
I was that nerdy with you guys.
Hey, that's all good. It's family. It's for fun. That's amazing. I am collecting, and if anybody is curious out in the internet world, we are collecting scrapbook material and old articles. So if you come across old stuff or you have pieces, starting an archiving project, and so I think it'd be great to get all of that stuff together. So awesome.
The other pages are so you can have this.
Okay, fair. Any recommendations outside of that, or anywhere we can catch you performing in the next little while?
Virtually, I'm not sure. I'm a little limited on software. But when things do open up, I do casually perform at Twisted. I perform, if not volunteer, every month or more than once a month with Fake Mustache. And I've started to perform at Johnny 5 on 17th Ave through the Electric Stage's cousin, Carl Shine.
Okay, awesome. I like that. Perfect. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us and showing off you're all very brave to show your first performance, I have to say. Like that's a whole other thing. All right. That's good. Well, take care, my friend. Take care in isolation, and we will be in touch. We'll talk soon.
Definitely. Love you.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Hopefully everybody's having a little bit of fun. We wanted to put this show together to give us an opportunity to kind of shoot the shit and talk about drag stories, because drag is fundamentally a community, and these conversations are things that happen backstage, but in a virtual format. This is a great opportunity for us to connect with you in a different way, and you get to know us in a little bit of a different way. So speaking of people who have known me for entirely too long, because nothing is sacred anymore in a beautiful way, we're the oldest. We get to be the oldest in this run. For those of you who have not had the opportunity to see LJ perform recently, both because of pandemic and also because LJ is our illustrious camera person at all times at the shows, especially in the last little while, and maintains our YouTube. So LJ and Nils, welcome to the chat, and thank you for keeping us on camera as often as possible.
Hello, everybody.
Hi. How are you feeling? You look great, just like your casual Thursday night best.
You know, I wanted to look extra nice for everybody tonight.
Wonderful. That's fantastic. So tell me a little bit about the video that I'm going to pull up here. So this is Dr. Jones had our oldest video. This is getting close. This is 2018.
Well, of all of the videos that we've had, this was one of the very first ones that I could find of me that I didn't cringe at, because I've got a lot of videos that I'm not able to watch it all, but this one I watched it and went, okay, I'm not cringing, so we'll go with that.
Great.
And I did my makeup so you could actually see it, because in this video it's so dark. It's so dark you won't be able to really see this. So
I feel like you should break down your outfit, because I remember the first time you wore this outfit to a drag show. It was the first time I had ever seen a chest plate sewn into a spandex onesie, which is still an LJ special. This is fucking high drag for 2010 when we were doing it.
Thank you.
So
yeah.
super jazz. And you can see Christine the lovely Cherry Pintrix, our illustrious long-running co-MC for the show, is just peeking out her frame here. And you'll notice from 2008 to 2010, the DJ, so DJ Hot Pants, who is still DJs with us today, is in the back here. DJ Hot Pants likes to dance during people's numbers, so there's lots of
and sing along, and do hand gestures and whatever moves him at the time.
So this is some classic rock. Tell us a little bit about your song selection, because you are famous for being the king of cheese because of your love of 80s and hair metal work. So talk to me about that.
Well, it was just a song I wanted to do, because I had done this originally at Money Pennies for a show that we had done there, and I really wanted to just bring it out again. But at the Soda, because our backstage was so tiny, and a lot of times I wanted to try and keep stuff hidden. So I would start at the very, very back and work my way forward to surprise everybody. So yeah, I'm a little bit skinnier there. This is about a year and a bit after I had Coda. So
I mean, you gave birth. I feel like you were our first pregnant Santa at a drag show, because you were going to have a kid in March of that year. Yes.
So yeah, I've been back doing drag since May that year. So this is a few months after I came back. So yeah,
and I want to point out all of the chest contouring is actually hair. that's
Yes.
like thrown on.
It actually came from this wig, actually.
Oh, there we go. That's great. That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah, how we came up with this costume was I found it was a onesie, a complete onesie at this little consignment place, and I wanted to add a chest piece into it, so to look more like Paul Stanley. And a drag queen I knew at the time helped me alter that onesie, that spandex onesie, and get that plate in there, and they hand stitched all the chest hair around the nipples and the treasure trail and all of that, and contoured, and
Yeah, it was
so. And my Spice Girl boots too.
the Spice Girls booth. And where did the guitar? Talk about the guitar. The guitar was its own discovery when the guitar came on the scene.
Yeah. So our mutual friend Dale, he had ordered a bass guitar from someone, and they sent him the bass guitar, and then they sent him this, but it was in two pieces. It was the neck and the body of it.
Huh.
And Dale's like, I don't know what to do with this. So he gave it to me. I went and got it assembled, got it stringed. It doesn't work. It's not a working guitar. It's just a practical prop. So that thing has been banged around so much. And I'm like, oh, no, it's fine. It doesn't work. It's fine.
Yeah. It is the only weapon that's ever with us on a road trip most of the time.
Yeah, but it just adds a little extra something. You can air guitar on a real guitar. And the first time I got to do air guitar on a real guitar was when we did Annie Sprinkle's wedding.
Yeah, where we did Somebody to Love, the Queen. You remember?
So, and my lovely packer too. I don't think I had my crocheted packer at that point, but
yes, because you crochet your dicks now, right? At the time.
No, I got Daisy to make me that.
Oh, you got somebody to see, and because at the time when we started doing drag, about 50% of the time, correct me if I'm wrong, you were using stuffed animals.
Yeah.
And I was using soccer socks.
I had a little frog that I used, and Cherry actually used it as well. So the frog got around.
That's awesome.
But it was I think JJ's in there, and I think that is awesome.
Yeah. Troy would have been at the door at this show probably. Yeah.
Yeah, Troy has a baby now.
Yeah, I know. Oh. Everybody's growing up now. Except us. We're still doing this.
I love it. But yeah, the soda was a great little venue. It was there wasn't a lot of light, so you can't really see my makeup.
There wasn't. We used to take the gel filters out of the lights so that we would have enough light to have a show. Remember? We would sneak the cellophane out of the light and just replace it at the end of the show. Yeah. Crazy. There we go. Awesome. Wonderful.
It was 2010.
Yes. 2010. Now, there's a few of us still on the back end of the stream. Once we're done chatting here, I'm going to put up an old group number video, and you're all welcome to join me. So I'll pop you all in, and we can close this off with a group chat. But I want to put LJ's info up here if you would like to send tips. So you have been doing drag longer than I have. Do you want to talk a little bit about when you started before Facebook?
Sure. Yeah, I went to a drag show, and the MC at the beginning of the show said, hey, if anybody is interested in trying this, come see me after the show, and we'll hook you up with one of the queens. And I was with my cousin at the time, and I said to her, I'm like, hey, have you ever heard of a drag king before? And she's like, no, I've never heard of a drag king before. I'm like, ooh, maybe I could be the first one. So after the show, I went and talked to the MC, and they hooked me up with what would all be my drag mom, who I actually saw at our last show back in February.
Really?
And yes. Yeah. Mahogany Beige was her name. It's not that anymore. But
that's
but no, I saw her at our last show, and it was just amazing. And but she took me to her house and got me into drag. And my family met me at was Detours, was where my first performance was. And my husband at the time, he was there too, and he was with me while I was getting into drag. And it didn't go well, but and when we got to Detours, I was walking around waiting for all my family and friends to show up, and And my aunt afterwards told me, she's like, there was this like creeper, like, hanging around. The creeper was me.
Because they didn't recognize you, hey?
No. So it was about 2000 is when I started. So
that's amazing. Well, thank you. We really appreciate it, and thank you for all of the work over the years. And we have lots of retro videos to go. We have lots of stories. So and the other thing I wanted to point out, actually, maybe this is interesting, but at the time when we started doing drag together, it was really rare to have straight identified people involved in the drag scene, and so that's been really interesting because it's changed an enormous amount, and that's always been kind of part of the space that you've held. So thank you for that.
well, thank you very much. You know what? I wouldn't trade any of this for the world because, I've got a whole family that, I love so much and don't know what I would do without any of you because, you make my life better, all of you.
Yes, agreed. I absolutely feel the same way. It's been a massive impact on our lives collectively. So speaking of that, actually, I'm going to pop a couple of our friendly neighborhood drag performers back into the welcome, back into the chat, and let's pull up this video, and you can have some fun at my expense for once.
Yay!
So this was the first trip where we went to Vancouver Pride, and we performed at the Dyke Mark. And it took us about.
I know this video.
Yes, it took us about 6 months. This was our first trip and our first group number. I forget the lyrics right off the top. It's great. It's a lot of fun. So we had driven to Vancouver, and this was sort of the result of it. So let's watch it together. And this was not the year that people got skunked. That will be a story for another time. But this was one of our first mashups for sure. And the crowd is very, very loud. The other thing I will say about this video is this is 5:15. Like 4.5 hours after the Dyke March has ended. Most of the crowd had left, and they came back for us, which was awfully nice because we were fucking dead last. And you'll recognize Eva Angel again up front here, as well as Tony McShane and a very young me. I had chest surgery less than 6 months before this, so this was my first summer. This is crazy. And we've got John D'Arc in the corner here, JJ Cage, Dr. Jones, you can see. This is Mr. Bones. It's a great entrance.
Hey, Bones.
We had
carrots.
Carrots, yeah.
That's great.
Oh, this is fun. You can see DJ Hot Pants or Mackenzie Ray in the back there. Christine, of course. Yes. Yeah. This was a lot of fun. It was way too warm. This shirt is from that trip.
How was it coordinating that many people when you guys had never done it before?
It was a nightmare. I have video of those rehearsals. Now, and there's a really weird mix, right? Some of the people in this video have, like a lot of drag troops, have dance experience. Most of us didn't. I mean, you'll notice, like, we're doing step touch, and moving through it. This felt so fast when we were learning it. It was like breakneck speed at the time. And Dr. Jones, jump in. You were here for this whole process too.
Yep.
Yeah. In fact, there you are.
Eva helped us a lot at the beginning.
Massively, yes. Yeah, having a choreographer as part of the team who could like take our brain ideas and turn them into movement made an enormous difference. Trying to teach us all the body roll was fucking hysterical.
Especially you.
Oh, especially me. I couldn't dance.
Trying to get you to move your hips at all was hilarious.
I had to transition first. It was fun though. It was a good trip.
Oh, Cherry.
We were all horrifically sunburned.
We were so sunburned. It's like we had never seen the mountains before. We had a great time though.
It's like rule number 1 of going to Vancouver is pack sunscreen.
See if like
we did.
Like a number thing.
You know, and we had a really interesting discussion about the Grease Lightning section of this number because we were having this conversation about, like, as drag performers, were we all each other's backup dancers or who was leading what section? And we had a debate about, like, classic drag songs like this versus new music and what we wanted to be. It was the first time we talked about a group cohesion or a theme, which is probably why we ended up with a mashup because then we didn't have to pick. Although learning this rap section almost killed me, I'll be honest. It's the most advanced dancing I've done in my adult life at that point. God, Mac is ridiculously attractive always.
I was gonna say, was that Mac just like sauntering across the front?
Yeah, Mac was our rapper at the time for sure.
So
And those pants still fit, but they had it for a long time. Yeah, that's Mac. Yeah. I was really proud of this jungle choreography because we finally got the like jerking to happen all at once, which just involved us laying on the hardwood in the dance studio, yelling at each other for what felt like days.
Yelling bum bum over and over again.
Over and over and over. But then we never had to think about it again, but it became such a strong muscle memory.
Until we had to do it again.
So we had to do it. My rule of thumb for group numbers is always the rehearsal you do before the actual performance has to be bad. It's like it can't go well because we rehearsed between a couple of parked cars down a hill before we got in. We waited for 5 hours, so it was crazy.
Oh, yeah, I remember that too.
Some injuries, yeah, we dealt with some injuries on the knee there. It was fun though.
what was the worst injury that's ever happened to someone on a trip?
Howie. Lila's ACL broke on stage at Edmonton Pride, and we duct taped beer around her knee and took her to the hospital in full drag in the middle of the day. It was crazy. But you know what was amazing? Everyone who was around her in the choreography stopped, picked her up, carried her off stage, went back on, and continued. It was like the most well-rehearsed thing I'd ever seen. But man, it was a day.
Yeah, not an easy video to watch either.
No, there's no video.
I'd imagine not.
I love how intense everyone is, and then the costume changes. There are like several quick costume changes that we just like made happen. Pretty sure I just take my shirt off. That solves everything.
Yeah, we just wear like 5 shirts.
Oh, we traded. Everybody traded outfits. That's how we did it. We made everybody swap, and then we went. It was crazy because Kian is absolutely wearing the shirt I was wearing at the beginning of the video.
I mean, that makes for a good look, but also that's great.
Yeah. That jump, I remember trying to do that jump. Eva hit Mac in the face twice in rehearsal doing that jump.
Oh, we've had so many injuries during rehearsals between faces and foots and hands
And there we are in all of our glory.
Babies.
Babies everywhere. Babies everywhere. Well, I want to thank all of you. I thought this would be a lot of fun for us to get together and reminisce and look at our old stuff, and especially to encourage new and young performers to take the opportunity to get out on stage and not worry so much about it. It's about doing it. So, any last words from any of you before we head out? Here.
I just love being on stage. Like I miss being on stage, you know. So this is just another great way to, you know, show our progression through our career, you know, because I never expected to be doing this still, but you know what, I love it, and I will keep doing it until I can't anymore.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think, and I mean, we just talked about a bunch of injuries. I think the other thing that has emerged for me is like protecting each other, right? And like learning choreography and finding ways for this to be a long-term thing, because drag should be something that people can do for their whole lives. Like, we have more stories to tell that way, for sure. So, but Nick, Dr. Jones, King, anybody want to pop in 2 cents you want to leave us with?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone's looking to get into drag, getting a start, I'm back to work at the costume shop as of Thursday. We're back open, and I love when new people come in, because everyone's coming in being like, they're always so quiet about it, like, oh, I'm like starting to do drag, and I'm like, guess what? Guess how many drag performers work here that you can talk to right now?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's always so great, and I love when young people come in being like, this is going to be my first time doing it, I'm so excited, and I'm like, let me tell you a thing about where you can go.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Perfect. And that's really helpful, because there's always the question about like, where do you get the supplies and how does that come to you? And you're doing curbside pickup. So if people want to start doing drag in their bedrooms, they can make that.
Absolutely. They're doing online orders. Everything we have available in store is online available to view. And again, I think they're going to be opening for 1 to 2 people at a time in the store. Hopefully it's going to be where we're looking at. So
Perfect.
Always
What
come
is
talk to us.
What's the website or the phone number if people want to get
It's The Costume Shop, and it's shoppe.com.
Okay, I'm going to put that up so that people can take a look at it like that, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, perfect. So if you, that's not what I wanted. CostumeShop.com, go ahead and check that out if you are curious. Dr. Jones, anything in your court you wanna cover before we leave?
Don't even try to get rid of the glitter. It's forever.
True. Solid advice all around. All right, my friends, it's all up to, yes, there we go. You have the perfect example of it. Get it everywhere. Don't worry about it too much. Perfect. All right. Thank you. I appreciate Drag Family so much. So thank you for spending time doing this with us. Goodbye to the audience. We really appreciate you. Without you, we wouldn't be doing the shows in the same way. And we are trying to be as in touch with you from Fake Mustache as we can. So tune in every Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. There are workouts with James Dean at noon, which you can pick up. They're free if you want to. Mo will be opening up a cooking show shortly, and we'll be at you every Thursday with our Cyber Stash show on the 22nd, and then Hot Heat on the 28th. So thank you all. Have a great night. Stay safe. Be queer. Queerer than you are right now.
Love you all.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.
Bye. Love you all.